Enter ye in at the strait gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
Hey everybody, my name is John, aka the Raw Narrow Path, and this is going to be the start of a channel that I believe is mostly going to be based around raw foodism, or raw veganism, or fruitarianism. They're all kind of interchangeable, the titles. Besides, some people they'll eat raw animal products and stuff, but for me, I'm pursuing a path of raw veganism. And essentially what raw veganism is so vegan is someone who doesn't eat any animal products. So no meat, dairy, or eggs, or honey. Technically, I'm not super strong on the honey stance, but that's typically what a vegan is. They don't do any animal products, and usually a lot of the times they don't buy like wool or leather, things like that as well. But I'm just focusing on the diet aspect of it, the eating aspect. So, a vegan is someone who does not eat animal products, and a raw vegan is someone who does not cook food and does not eat animal products. So a raw vegan diet, it includes anything that's raw and not an animal product. So fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, that would make up the majority of a raw vegan diet. No cooked food, all raw. There's also like seaweeds and mushrooms and stuff. These are vegan things that you can eat that are raw. But the kind of philosophy or the lifestyle that I am trying to live is more of a fruitarian side, which, there's really no clear definition of what a fruitarian is. Some say fruitarianism is someone who eats mostly fruit, like 80% or more of their diet consists of fruit. Some people will say, some people will call raw vegans fruitarians. Some people say that a fruitarian diet is no vegetables. It's only fruits and nuts, or fruits and nuts and seeds, so there's really no clear definition of what a fruitarian is. But for me, it's going to be fruit based. Like, a wide majority of my food is going to be fruit, if not all of it. You know what I mean? If I want vegetables, I'm not going to force myself to not eat them. But I'm going to try and avoid kind of getting too complex with vegetables, because I think it's right, the whole raw vegan fruitarian idea, a lot of it is based on trying to be as natural as possible, right? So like cooking is unnatural, right? You're taking a food in its natural state, and then you're adding heat and fire, and you're kind of distorting its natural state. So I feel like with vegetables, a lot of people, they'll make salads, right? And I love salads, don't get me wrong. But I feel like that's kind of unnatural, because there's so many ingredients in one meal. You wouldn't really eat that many different ingredients in nature. Plus, you have to put seasoning and sauce, like a salad dressing, on top of it, which is kind of unnatural as well. You know what I mean? It's like you have to create a dressing in order to make the food even edible, really. You know what I'm saying? So if I want vegetables, I'm not going to force myself to not eat them. But if I do, I want to eat them as simple as possible. So like no salads really, just eating like spinach on its own, or eating just carrots on their own, if I want. That being said, I'm not going to be super strict with it, but basically this channel is going to be about the journey of fruitarianism or raw veganism. I was a vegan for like 3 years, and I was dabbling with raw veganism for like a year, but I could never stick with it. You know what I mean? I would always fall off and whatever, but now I'm back and I really want to commit to this, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to document the journey, and today is day 1. And so far today I've only had, it's like 9:15 p.m. So far I've only had a little bit of watermelon just because I wasn't that hungry today. But so yeah, I don't know if I finished my thought, but fruitarian for me, first of all, a fruit is the edible flesh of a plant that surrounds a seed or seeds. Okay? And then I believe nuts are fruits as well. If you look up are nuts fruits, I don't know about every single one, but most of the time Google, who knows how true Google is, but Google will say that nuts are fruits. And then I believe seeds are included in a fruitarian diet as well, because if you're going to eat fruit, then you're going to eat seeds. It's just, there's no way around it. Sometimes you can avoid eating the seeds, and sometimes you have to avoid eating the seeds. But some fruits, there's no way to avoid eating the seeds. Like all berries, pretty much. Strawberries, like how are you not going to eat the seed? Or dragon fruit. Some fruits you just have to eat the seeds. So I think nuts and seeds are all part of a fruitarian diet. I think vegetables, if you eat a lot of vegetables, or if you eat vegetables occasionally, I think it's more of a raw vegan lifestyle, not necessarily a fruitarian. But anyways, it's not super strict, but I'm going to be leaning towards the fruitarian path. And, let's see how it goes. Let's see if I lose weight. Let's see if I have more energy. Let's see if I feel better spiritually, so. But anyways, it's getting late and I want to eat something, so I think I'm going to check out. I have some persimmons in the fridge, and I'm going to check out if they're any good. So, one moment. So we got some persimmons, Fuyu persimmon. These aren't ripe yet, unfortunately. So we are not going to be eating those. Trying to think, what do I want to eat? Yeah, so this was just kind of a little introduction. We got some organic bananas. This is just kind of an introduction, kind of what is fruitarianism, what is raw veganism, what is this path I'm going on, and let's try and keep it cordial in the comments and everything, and because a lot of people, they feel really strong about their beliefs, and there's a lot of debate on certain things, right? A lot of people, they make fun of vegans. They think, oh, you're deficient, you're gonna, they listen, like if I don't feel good, then I'm not gonna do it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not super dogmatic. I'm not gonna shove anything down your throat. This is just me and a plant-based lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it cordial. I'm down to have different ideas and different perspectives, and and you can give some video suggestions down below. I think I'm going to be talking about many things. So we have the raw food aspect, the fruit-based diet aspect, but also I'm interested in a lot of things. I like philosophy and religion. I don't know if I want to really unravel that too much, because again, a lot of people are really, it's a touchy subject. But, I might share just vague things here and there. I also like rap and hip hop, so I might share videos on that subject. And also, I am planning to move with my dad to Southeast Asia somewhere. So I'm planning on recording, recording the journey, documenting the process, because a lot of people, I think, the USA is unfortunately getting really expensive. And I think a lot of people are seeing that it appears to be going downhill. There's a lot of political hostility and division, So my dad's going to retire in Southeast Asia, and I'm going to go with him. So, there's probably other people who want to get out of this country as well. So I think documenting the journey could be helpful to certain people. And also it could be an interesting dynamic, a father-son duo, because I don't think there's many channels like that. But anyways, I'm going to eat these bananas, man. I'm just going to try and document my health journey and then share topics along the way. I also like basketball. I like skateboarding. I'm not exactly sure which. I like video games too. I like music. I don't know which topic exactly besides raw food I'm gonna talk about, but we'll see. It's the start of a channel. But yeah. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully over time I can get better at this, and I can be more of a personality. We can have some catchphrases or some something like that. But for the time being, I'm gonna eat these bananas. I'm gonna document my raw food journey. I've said that like 3-5 times. But thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know thoughts. Let me know suggestions. Send some love. But anyways, peace out, man.